That was a deep sigh, wasn't it?
It's been a morning.
Y'all have no clue.
Uh, I'm not even sure.
So happy it's Tuesday. It is Tuesday,
Yeah, I
right?
did put my shoes on. Okay. Yes, it's
Okay, so happy
Tuesday.
it's Tuesday. How long before it's Friday Eve? That's all I want to know.
Not soon enough.
Okay, that'll be 48 hours, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, well, in 48 hours, I'm trusting that we will be telling Hurricane Aaron to keep moving. Northeast will be your direction, lady. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And good morning, I'm Lee Barrows.
Chris Marks, where are you? Is getting checked out today following a weekend of mayhem, starting with a picnic on Saturday. You start on Saturday with a picnic, and it goes downhill from there.
Look, I'm
Poor
still.
Chris.
He's supposed to call in this
I
morning
want to know. I have questions.
because,
Inquiring minds want to know the
like you
truth.
said, the diatribe that he sent us. I'm like, what? You did what? And how it went from one thing to another. I got really confused, but I think I understand it better now. But he's doing well. He's got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and then he should be back Thursday.
Well, the drugs worn off.
I don't know. I think he said they didn't give him Tylenol 650.
Yeah, I got some of that. I don't like it. Chris is getting checked out following that weekend of mess, and so we'll wait. They're not going to even try to explain what I've heard.
He reminds me of that guy that does the insurance
Calamity
commercial. The commercials, the
Yeah.
insurance commercials. It's like-
Mayhem.
yeah, Mr. Mayhem. Yeah, that's Chris.
Well, Chris isn't the one who causes it, though. He's the victim of it. That's what I look like. What he looked like.
All
to me.
I can say is, hopefully he'll call soon and explain this mess to us. Because I'm like, what?
It kind of looks like for a bit, this up and down, Aaron, up and down, Aaron, up. Had 160 mile per hour winds over the weekend. Then it went down to 125, and now it's up and down, up and down. It's still going to be doing that. I think we may have peaked out. I hope anyway. Conditions have worsened to a bit, unless the folks at the National Hurricane Center get surprised. Old Aaron's going to make us uncomfortable and apprehensive in this part of the state. But we should not have to do too much to be fully recovered and back to normal in short order. So at some point in time, Thursday, we back to normalcy just in time to take a look at two other things that are out there on the maybe they'll just go somewhere
That
else.
one behind Aaron, that is
There are two of them.
probably no. I'm speaking specifically of the one that's behind Aaron right now,
It's called,
and it's going to be Fernan.
We call that disturbance 1 right now.
Oh well, it's definitely going to turn into something, but I don't like it. It looks like to me it's running a little bit lower than what Aaron is, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, you're negative Danny today, so I was hoping for the best, but you
No,
spoiled that.
I just like.
But we do need to watch disturbance number 1.
Mhm.
It's got right now disorganized rain and thunderstorms. It is moving in our way. Now, by our way, I'm looking at everything along the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. So, and it's our way is in Jacksonville. No, not that. Nothing to write home about yet. It could go anywhere. It could just fade into oblivion. We've had several to do that already this year, and I would like to make it another one. Okay, at 5 o'clock this morning, Aaron was still packing some pretty powerful winds, but they were down 115 miles per hour. A big storm covering a lot of area and is moving northwestward at 7 miles per hour. So it's slowed down. Tomorrow night, going into Thursday morning, the wee morning hours of Thursday, Aaron should be at her closest point to North Carolina, and that will still be several hundred miles away if the National Hurricane Center forecast is even close. But that will still put it close enough to make the ocean angry. Residents along bogue banks and down east communities and near waterways should be aware that coastal flooding Strong winds and high surf are possible from Tuesday evening. That's from tonight through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Still trying to assess wind and rain issues along the coast. The things from Lake Beaufort and northward, Cape Lookout area, that seems to be where the most of whatever is going to happen is going to happen, if anything. Onslow County has closed all beach access points effective this morning until further notice. Aboard Camp Lejeune's Onslow Beach to the north, activities have shut down and there is no access to the beach from NC 172. Over there in Carteret County, just talking about it, residents along boat banks and near the waterways, coastal flooding, strong winds, and high surf are possible. Along the beaches themselves, it's likely that red flags will be in place. In case you're from somewhere else, that means conditions are conducive to drowning. I assume that's clear. We'll continue to bring you updates as Aaron continues to pose a threat to our comfort levels and our safety. Please heed all warnings. Don't be stupid. You are not invincible, and you're neither Superman nor Superwoman. It can get to be kind of obnoxious out there. The ocean, just don't even think about it. Yesterday, to our south, not that far south, Wrightsville Beach had somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 beach rescues.
Yes.
Rip currents, and more rip currents all over the place. Why were people in the water yesterday? Did they not get the warnings? Did the lifeguards at Wrightsville Beach not tell them no?
I'm sure they did. I mean, it's been all over, stay out of the water, stay out of the water. Rest of the week.
Yeah, don't. There's, they got, I don't know, further south from Wrightsville Beach going down, they got rescue after rescue after rescue. They had almost 100 rescues in New Hanover County, the smallest county in North Carolina, yesterday.
Yes, I saw where Dorothy in Holly Ridge, she was posting a lot of the information on the current rescue numbers, and it was crazy.
I worked down there when that kind of stuff was hitting, and it was rampant, and people will just not listen.
Right now, and I just put their website in our comments on our Facebook and YouTube. Click on that, and you can watch the ocean right now. I picked the Surf City webcam. Rayford, there's probably at least 30 surfers out there right now.
Yeah, well,
in the water.
They love it.
Oh, yes. That's the most I've seen at one time in quite a while.
Checking our local Onslow Amateur Radio Club members this morning. They've given time, the temperature, and the rainfall, if they had any. Joe, down there in the borough, he was over there at Emerald Isle, and he said nothing had been closed down. The parking lot was still, people could get in there, and he said it was very foggy. And he said, "Can you hear the ocean?" And yes, I could. He said it's pretty angry.
Yes.
Pretty fierce. Ferocious. So don't do it. Don't do it, guys.
I would love to be able to go down there and watch it, but no.
We just look at it on camera. There's plenty of cameras up and down the beaches. Some of the TV stations have cameras. Other places, everybody's got cameras. There's some surf cams out there. So if you just do a search for surf cams, North Carolina beaches, and see what you get.
Yeah,
used to be a bunch of them.
The link I put on there covers a whole bunch of the cameras all the way down through New Hampshire. Just pick on which one you want. I picked the Surf City. That's the one we used to go to, right there at the edge of Onslow's Pinter. Yeah. But yeah, it looks the ocean is coming up.
Yeah, all beach access is in Onslow County. All right, that's from Surf City northward. You cannot go into those beach access areas.
Right, they're closed.
Have closed them. The base is closed. The beaches, Onslow Beach, the base is closed.
And I think you saw that picture I sent you and Chris last night in Kelly. It's North Topsail.
Yeah.
And the water's already coming up to the dunes, washing up to the dunes.
If you'll notice the water, that dune area there, that's called erosion.
Yes. Oh,
Plus that
yes.
drop off that they have.
Constant.
And I mentioned last night on the post that there was one man responsible for all of that.
Yeah, that was an extremely interesting story
I've got 400 feet of 16 millimeter film over there that I'm going to get it dubbed over to some, a digital thing so that I can start posting some of the stuff that I watched him do. And that included, there was nothing at the north end except a couple of fishing piers.
Right.
And he was bulldozing down the frontal dunes, which were much further inland than they are now, because he had that property there. He moved those dunes closer to the water. Now, think about when that happens. You move the dunes closer to the water, and then you open up the land behind the dunes so you can sell the property and develop it. And then along comes storms, which is like we're seeing now, and it's washing away those dunes.
Well, I will never understand
Man-made
after
dunes.
Bertha and Fran and how it destroyed our beaches and the property on the beaches. I don't understand how we were able to go right back and build on the water, basically.
I saw the video again. They're looking at it up on the Outer Banks. There's a couple of houses that they had a camera on that collapsed.
Yeah.
They were, and you were down in the Brunswick beaches recently, right? Ocean Island?
Yes. No. Oak Island.
Okay. So one of the beach towns down there, they used to have water. 3rd Street is oceanfront. The others have washed away. Everything that was there is gone. So Mother Nature is a force to be reckoned with, and you ain't big enough to reckon with her. Okay?
Absolutely
She will
not.
wreck you in a heartbeat. The beaches, there was a guy named Orrin Pilkey. He was a well-known guy who studied the beaches and the erosion and all the stuff. He referred to them as the dynamic zone. I interviewed him several times. He spoke here in Jacksonville one night back in the 70s or early 80s. He said the dynamic zone. He wrote a book. I got it somewhere. You need to pick it up. But he wrote this book called The Dynamic Zone. The dynamic zone is anywhere along the waterfront in North Carolina. It's moving constantly. It's moving in. It's moving out. Now, all of the beach areas do that. Now, if they've studied extensively something called Masonboro Island that runs between Carolina Beach Inlet and Masonboro Inlet to its north at Wrightsville Beach. There's nothing there. There's no construction there, but that island moves, it erodes, it moves. The sand is deposited on the inside of that island, and then it comes back around as the seasons change, and it comes out and is deposited back on the front.
Right.
The only time you know that that's happening is if there is a structure there. Of course, they did photos and all sorts of stuff there. But it's going to be moving. You're not going to stop it. You can put all the sandbags you want there. You can put all of the sand that you want there. Do it year round.
And
is it worth it?
And this is another reason why our insurance rates have gone up.
That's exactly right.
And this is another reason why the insurance rates for a house on the beach increased almost double.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so many people moved to bought homes on the beaches, and when everything looked cool, isn't that gorgeous? Kind of like they used to sell land in Florida,
right?
Only at low tide when they had land,
right?
The rest of the time it was swamp and underwater. But you could build them, I guess.
One of our listeners, he said, talking about the beach, he said that was declared Cobra Zone in the 50s, but greed found its way in.
Greed.
It's just like
this man was greedy. He got cited so many times by the Corps of Engineers. He stayed in court, and our lax court system said it's okay. Go ahead and do it. Just pay your fine. He said he told me on camera, and it may be on that film, that it was the cost of doing business.
Wow.
The cost of doing business.
Well,
the only other person that ever told me that was a hooker.
Okay.
Downtown Jacksonville.
Because
she would beat me out back to the streets and continue performing.
Mhm.
And she said getting arrested and paying a $50 bail was the cost of doing business. She made it back quickly,
Good
I'm
Lord.
sure. On this date, the year was 1909. Want to know what happened? It's a major event.
In 19 what?
1909. It was the
19
100th anniversary of the birth of, was not this date, but 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the year they issued the 1909 penny, which was the first year that the Lincoln's head was on it.
I need to go through my pennies.
It's got nothing to do with this story, but
Right.
on this date, 1909, the very first race was held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Okay.
How about that?
That's right up
I
mine.
figured you would have known that.
I don't remember dates back in history. I could tell you who drove into the wall and
Now the home of the
Who broke their
world's
leg?
most famous motor racing competition, the Indianapolis 500.
oh, that's always a good one.
Built on 328 acres of
Oh.
farmland 5 miles northwest of Indianapolis, Indiana. The speedway was started by local businessmen as a way to, bring people into town and
Right.
to make money.
Right.
Bottom line.
Oh,
Some of those old cars at that first race, they look like the go-karts of
I wish
my era.
we could go back to those days of racing. I mean, somebody wants to know what you were doing hanging around a hooker.
arresting her.
They said don't let him say he was on the clock for PD. Oh,
Putting them in jail, and they walk out and put them in one door and they walk out the other one.
yeah. Well, they have to go make money to pay their bail now,
Yeah.
their bond.
That's right.
I mean, gosh, it's a double-edged sword there.
I wonder what the top speed was that first year. 30 miles an hour or something.
No,
1909?
1909.
Yeah. What was the top speed of the cars at the Indianapolis race? It wasn't the 500 then. Because of the speeds of those days, it was be running probably.
Top speed.
Do, do, do,
Average
do,
first
do, do,
speed. First
do,
Indy.
do, do, do,
I was going
do,
to
do,
say,
do, 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 do.
I almost had it perfect. 74.6 miles. I was going to say 76 miles. It said the average speed was 74.6 miles.
Really?
Yes, and it was
Was
one
it
by,
downhill?
it was 75 that's
In 1909, cars
that's-
had not been around very long.
well, it said that it was won by Ray Haroon, and he completed the race in approximately 6 hours and 42 minutes.
Was it a 500-mile race?
Yes,
Really?
500 miles.
Holy crap.
Yeah, running at what they run at now, anywhere between 190 and two something.
Yeah.
Usually those races last about 3 hours or so.
Yeah, the bladders is not as big today as they used to be.
Well, I'm sure they probably wear astronaut diapers.
In 1909? Flash Gordon wasn't even
Maybe
born.
that's why it took 6 hours, because they had to keep stopping.
Pit stops meant something else in those days.
Wow.
That's what they mean today.
See, I would definitely have a problem
Mhm.
if I had to sit and just be with my adrenaline rushing for 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Can you go that long?
No.
Okay.
No.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about a marine forecast today, or even for the next few days. So, best way to sum it up: don't go into the ocean. Even the
Don't.
sounds and rivers are going to be nasty. Those big sounds like the Pamlico and the Albemarle, looking more like a really mad ocean. Conditions are not good. If you want to take your boat and go fishing, Sutton Lake in Wilmington is not too far away. It's a few acres, and they got some nice bass there.
Sutton Lake?
Yeah, it's near the Sutton Power Plant in Wilmington, right off downtown Wilmington.
Swim in a lake that's near a power plant? Mm-mm.
It's not a nuclear plant. They don't drop any wires in it until it's time for you to get out.
Oh,
Then they wire the water. What's it looking like up here? What kind of? I'm being asked what's the outlook for rain tomorrow?
Right now it's showing 50%.
Okay,
Yes.
so probably later in the day.
I'm thinking maybe some of those outer bands might come through. Depends on how that Aaron is supposed to get really horizontal. It's supposed to really grow.
Aaron's going to be horizontal.
Yeah, that's what they're saying on Noah last night. I watched the 11 o'clock update, and he said they're expecting it to really start extending out as it moves up.
It's been doing some of that stuff. It's it's pretty ugly out there.
Yes, she's a fierce lady right now.
Yep, I know her well.
Yes, the biggest impacts for North Carolina, though, North Carolina is making the news big time right now, are the impacts on our coastal areas and in the coastal waters. And please tell me, does the Tar River in Kinston reach the ocean anywhere?
It likely drains into other rivers.
Well, that's what I thought too.
I don't know, but it
I mean, Kinston is putting out warnings about it flooding because of Aaron, but
if it rains, here's the thing: it can rain upriver, like further up from New River, further up the Cape Fear River,
right,
and it can cause flooding downstream a lot.
But that doesn't connect to the tar.
Well, because just think about all that low-lying areas where little tiny streams are and whatever, they will drain once they get flooded and the water does not go down into the ground.
Right.
Once it's saturated, which most of it is probably saturated already, then it's going to go into a river somewhere.
Right, I understand that, but now,
where does the Tar River end up? I don't know. That's where's that?
Greenville, Kinston, Greenville. But right now they're not calling for a rain event for inland. Maybe right along the coast, some rain, but they're not calling for a big rain event right now.
Yeah, just depends upon how long this thing stays overhead. Okay. We've done the few. Did you do all the?
No, you did. You didn't complete yours.
Yes, I did. I said don't.
Oh, you cut it short and just said don't go out.
I just don't, because there's no reason to talk about how big the waves are. They're going to be huge.
That's why you threw me. I was waiting for you to, it'll be, waves 2 to 4 feet.
Nope, they're going to be up to 13 feet.
Today, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Mostly sunny with a high near 87. Northeast wind 5 to 8 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 74. Northeast wind around 7 miles per hour. Wednesday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Partly sunny with a high near 89. Right now, northeast wind 10 to 13 miles per hour with gusts as high as 18. Thursday, a slight chance of showers, partly sunny with a high near 87. Winds are forecasted 14 to 16 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. That's now. And see, it did change from yesterday.
Yeah. Around our area, the Onslow Amateur Radio goes, my team every morning. Randy out there at Southwest at 75 degrees at 6:15 this morning. And a trace of rain, not even measurable. Joe, I told you he was at the beach at that time. The borough had 75 degrees. It was foggy and a ferocious ocean at Emerald Isle, and he had no rain, zero. Dale over there at River Bend, 74 degrees and 0.02 inches of rain. Had a little accumulation yesterday. We had a little bit here too, 0.03. Had it yesterday afternoon.
I had 0.03 from midnight because mine dumps every midnight. At midnight, but I had 0.3 and it was 75 degrees.
Oh, mine from midnight has 0, but from up until midnight it had. Yesterday,
I did.
We had a bunch of stuff on the porch or the deck yesterday. I said I didn't even hear it raining, so it wasn't a real downpour.
Right. Yeah, it sprinkled a little bit. In fact, there was one time, it was right about drive time, of course, that the sky turned black and it started getting thunder and lightning. And I was like, oh, we're getting ready to have a bad storm at drive time. But
you guys are interested in, if you are a ham radio guy, if you're already licensed, You're welcome to join the Onslow Amateur Radio Club.
Mhm.
Next meeting is the 6th of September, Saturday, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Not this
You're
Saturday, is it the following Saturday?
It's the following Saturday,
No,
September
this
6th.
weekend is the 23rd.
Right.
No, it'll be
So it's 2 weeks
2
from
weeks
now.
from Saturday.
Phew, yeah,
So
that's
it's
right.
going to be
2
at the
weeks.
Emergency Operations Center over there in the Commons area. Look for the big tower, the 400-foot tower. All hams know, they're always
Right.
looking for towers. So, starts at 9 o'clock. You're as a visitor, come on in and join us, and we'll. And if you like what you hear, what you see, and like to be a member of the club, you're welcome to join up. We had several new members here recently, and
Yes.
we're going to get you too.
Right.
And very shortly, because in 2 weeks you're going to be taking your test, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, you've been studying for
I
6
just
weeks, 8
Don't
weeks.
like tests.
It's not a big problem.
No,
Let's
it's
put it this
not.
way: if an illegal alien from Mexico
I knew that was coming.
can get a driver's license and then get a truck driving license, you should be able to pass this test.
Well, I almost brought that up yesterday.
Yeah, we'll
so,
talk about it.
yeah.
So anyway, out there behind Erin, to her southeast,
Gonna be
there
Fernand.
is quite a ways out there, but it's a good chance this one's going to develop. 60% chance over 7 days, and 10% chance over the next 48 hours. So, but it's almost in the same wake
I
that
know.
Erin has been in, and by Friday, good possibility of depression, possibly a storm as it approached the Leeward Islands. So we'll have to see where it goes at that point in time. And right behind that, a wave, hello, just came off the coast of South Africa, well, of Africa, west coast of Africa, and is hanging around, it's approaching the Cape Verde Islands. Those guys are infamous by getting hit by storms. Brand new
Yes.
storms.
Well, they're in the ocean.
Yeah, well, that's where islands hang out around.
Huh?
This
Okay,
one's is disturbance number 2. It's moving westward at about 15 miles an hour. It looks like it's just going to be a 1, 2, 3.
Yes. Well, that's right now.
Now, we don't know where they will go, of course. Both of those systems, they're not storms, they're systems right now. They could
Right.
dissipate, they could pick a direction of travel, could form into something and, and decide it wants to go wherever. I don't like talking about models, but there were a bunch of them last night talking about going into the Caribbean and then into the Gulf Coast. So, we'll see.
Right. I watched a video last night, the hurricane hunters inside of Erin. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to see the ring all the way around and the blue sky above it.
Did you ride in one of those planes?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Mm-mm. Be my luck, the wing would dip a little bit, get caught in the winds. I'm just like, no. Mm-mm. But I do find it fascinating what they do.
Yeah, oh, me too. They used to come into the airport in Wilmington when there was a storm to refuel and do whatever. And they'd take media out, and they volunteered to take me out. And I said, I don't need to. I can watch your pictures from here just fine. I don't need to be in the middle of nastiness.
But the video last night showing the eye of the storm, and hurricane hunters were actually inside the eye. I mean, it was beautiful the way it was formed. It was like picture perfect.
Just watch out for the other side.
Yeah.
So if you
Better
guys,
them, not me.
if y'all have never been in the eye of a hurricane, it is kind of mysterious, and it's
I've been out in it. Yeah.
I've been
On the
in,
ground.
in the eye, on the ground,
On the
and then
ground.
nothing is happening. No wind's blowing. The sky is blue, and then all of a sudden, and it does not take long for when it starts. It's like a train. It's way down the track. You don't know anything about it, but suddenly it's on top of you.
Right.
So-
Right.
The rip current risk today way up. Just please, don't y'all get stupid. They're having problems up at Hatteras Island and probably at Ocracoke as well. There are a lot of people there. They're trying to get all these people, tourists off first, and then any of the residents who want to leave,
Right.
trying to get them off next, because roads are going to flood. There are going to be issues there if the storm doesn't take a hard right. Right now, the northern part of North Carolina is not looking as bad as that very central Cape Lookout up through Ocracoke area. That's the closest point where the storm's going to be at the time it passes. So, and it should be turning by then pretty well. Hopefully it'll turn and just be gone, and hopefully it doesn't mess up Bermuda either. So,
I just want it to come in and turn northeast, and leave.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
okay, you ready for me to rant?
Yeah, go right ahead.
How much should you pay when you deal in drugs and the drugs kill a man? What's the cost to you? What should it be?
Life in prison.
The charge against the person, death by distribution. A year behind bars, 10 years, about 40 years. You have sold dope that took another person's life. You did it for the almighty dollar. So I ask again, how much would you think is enough to replace a life from a man that is no longer with us? Left his family, left his friends. No more phone calls to his family, no more girlfriends, no more buds to hang out with. A man who has simply vanished. Not in a wreck, not the victim of an armed robbery gone bad, not a victim of a drive-by shooting. A man who decided he wanted dope so bad, and you said, yes, give me the money, honey, and it's all yours. No warning labels attached like those on cigarettes and pretty much anything else you buy at the supermarket these days. And why would you, money hungry that you are, why would you warn the man that the crap you're selling them can kill him? The man who sold the dope has his day in court. The killer, his name is William Perkins of Swansboro. He copped a plea, not wanting to put his fate in the hands of 12 of his peers. The payoff was a sentence that he spent up to 8 3/4 years in a state prison.
How many?
8 3/4. So go ahead and follow that sometime and let me know when William Perkins gets out.
No. Okay. Was he sentenced in Carteret County?
Carteret.
County. Carteret.
The victim,
Surprised.
Joshua Adams, was sentenced to die back in 2023. The victim was sentenced to die without notice in 2023, and he did. Mr. Adams died from a deadly dose of the Chinese-produced Mexican cartel packed and shipped into the U.S. across the porous southern border with Mexico. Mr. Adams was one of more than 110,000 Americans to be murdered by a host of co-conspirators, from Perkins to the cartel to the Chinese sanctioned production companies of the raw product. Other than pleading guilty and getting sentenced to prison, is there anything at all that he furnished law enforcement agents that would help them move a step up the ladder to the big dope, to grab the big dogs, to choke the life out of them? If not, what a waste of a good plea deal. For you, Mr. President, a little lesson in recent history. The leaders like yourself of this nation once labeled Osama bin Laden as a terrorist for his role in 9/11 and other acts of murder that claim untold numbers of lives, many of them Americans. In case you've forgotten, the nation hunted bin Laden for years. Finally found out where he was hiding in a country that we were not at war with, Pakistan. Our military and our elected leaders decided that the terrorist known as bin Laden needed to go. A special group of men, very special men, slipped into bin Laden's lair in the dark of night, approached the tall man, and shot him to death. That team dragged his body out to a chopper, and the terrorist became shark food dropped from one of our warships with no more care than you would discard rotten cabbage, as it should be.
Rotten cabbage.
Mr. President, I would venture to say that the Mexican cartel that we have declared as terrorists are responsible for killing more Americans with the fentanyl that they are selling than all of the Americans that bin Laden was responsible for killing. Are we more afraid of Mexico than we were of Pakistan? Why? Did we even notify Pakistan that we were coming for bin Laden? The answer is no. So what exactly are we waiting for? An invitation from a bunch of corrupt thugs in Mexico that we will never get? Those cartels are in bunkers. We know we can penetrate them. We know we
Yes,
can
we
get
can.
to them.
Absolutely.
Why not eliminate them and wait until they're working? Not wait. We got to go after the people because they will do nothing but build new places. Have you seen any of the video of the massive undertakings of these people? These are not just little factories. This is a lot of stainless steel. There's a lot of stuff. It's mostly underground for this packaging of the fentanyl, for producing it.
Oh, I
They
imagine.
come in a raw product and they stamp it and they send it out as pills that say everything from Tylenol to whatever. None of it says fentanyl.
Mm.
We have got to save Americans.
I agree.
110,000
I
a
agree.
year.
I agree.
All of the cartel are not worth that. Not even for 1 year. That's
Oh,
double the number that we lost, that Americans lost in Vietnam in 10 years, 12 years.
well, I tell you, we've got a long ways to go, but I believe our government is doing a good job right now of cleaning it up.
No, we're not cleaning it up. They're still producing it, and they're still getting it here.
I think they've made a lot of hits.
Yes, but they're now using
at least-
submarines.
Submarines.
Where have you been? Yes, that's what they're doing. Unmanned submarines, remote controlled.
I
And
missed
they're
that.
shipping it into this country.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And into Canada, which is coming
See.
across the Canadian border into this country.
There you go.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Well, good morning, my friends. How are you?
Okay.
We're good.
The big question of the day is,
Yeah.
do I need to do any rescue maneuvers on you?
I do not need another chest
Compression?
We're still
Yes,
trying to
just
figure that
a-
A
out.
I
compression
didn't need a-
session.
I'm not sure why the lady did the chest compression.
Were you
but
breathing?
She did. Oh yeah. I think it was pretty sure I was breathing. Everybody around me seemed to thought I was
You
breathing,
didn't see any bright lights or anything, right?
No,
Okay,
no.
you're
Very
probably still
first
there.
thing I saw was a whole bunch of people's faces around looking down at me.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, I don't. But they were very caring. You know, our parishioners that were brought very caring. And the story I finally got straight was I was on the altar, fell backwards over the marble bench.
That's
and
hard
landed
stuff, too.
on my head, back, and neck on the cement
Oh, boy.
floor. Well, it had carpeting on it, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Okay, now
They are replacing that little piece of concrete that was cracked, I think.
Lord. Now you've got to, I know you've got, but the day before Saturday, you went down and found out you messed up your knee or leg.
Yeah. Actually, Rafe and Lee, it all happened Saturday within a matter of 5 hours.
So everything was Saturday.
Everything was Saturday. Yeah,
Okay.
everything was Saturday. So
Lee was confused. She confused me.
No, I probably confused both of you with my messages. So
You did.
I'm not going to blame Samsung, Lee. It's just me.
I'm like,
But-
what?
So we had our new high school second year church picnic open house, and I just had a lot of people were going, Chris, come here, I need you to do this, Chris. I mean,
Oh,
long story short, didn't stay hydrated. Came home, quick shower, church, start serving the mass, and then halfway through, heat exhaustion, dehydration, whatever they want to call it, passed out as we were beginning our communion services. And
orange juice,
Jack,
Gatorade, and I keep Clamato juice in here. I use it for cooking too, but a good glass of Clamato juice is like tomato juice it tastes like it's got some clam juice in it too. It makes it better.
Mm-mm.
okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. Usually I always carry my cooler, which, as you know,
Yes,
when
you
I come
do.
to you,
You
I have a
do.
cooler, but, and I always carry it everywhere I go. It's got water in it.
Mhm.
And power rates, but that time that was only supposed to be there for a half hour. I ended up 3.5 hours picnic.
Mm.
So, long story short, the fire department guys were there. They moved, but I finally convinced them, hey, mass has to go on. I don't need to be the center of attention, so let's go into the sacristy, finish the test, all those tests they run on.
So this was during the actual church service that you
On
did
Saturday.
this.
Oh yeah. Which
So-
the priest, when I
you know, at least the priest didn't kind of put his foot on you and keep you down so you couldn't get up while they continued mass.
Talk about freaking out, waking up to the priest doing last rites on you.
Well, actually, that's what he did.
No.
It's a ritual because the anointing of the sick, for the Catholics, anointing of the sick.
Last rites?
Your last rites, yes. So, but in this case, you know,
Wow.
the priest saw the sweat on my forehead, so he knew he was just anointing me for being sick. And mass continued, and as soon as I signed off that, hey, I'm fine, I don't need to go anywhere, I put my vestments back on, continued, finished mass, and now I'm just waiting to. The knee problem was at the picnic. There was, Rafer, you're familiar. You are too with these stumps that are level to the ground.
Yes.
Well, it started to rain. Yeah, well, it started to rain. Slipped on that. My knee popped, and tomorrow I'll have a surgeon take a look at it, see what they want to do. But I think it'll be fine.
You just couldn't stand that Kathy was getting all the attention with her surgery.
So since you brought that up, as I revested and was came back in the altar, the priest came over to me and whispered to me, "Chris, you'll do anything to be the center of attention at church."
God. Ouch.
No.
You know,
yeah, ouch.
A question was, Kathy was not there with you, was she?
No.
How did you explain this to her?
I bet she was the last to know, though, wasn't she?
When you got home, how did you explain it to her?
Get it, girl.
And how did that work out for you?
Well, first off, Kathy said, yay, Lee. But I was actually very clever because 3 hours later, I called her as I was picking up
3 hours
for our
later.
donuts the next morning.
Uh-huh.
I called her and told her, in case somebody tells you what happened, let me tell you the truth.
3 hours later. Mm.
Well, of course, I have to come up with a real good reason.
You would have had a knot upside your head.
That's kind of like the cruise that Gilligan took.
Yeah.
3 hours later.
3 hours later.
Okay.
But as you tell, spirits are good.
Very good.
Little hard to hobble around, but I should be back. Should be back very soon. 1:30 appointment tomorrow. But we'll be off the air by then.
Okay.
Well, you're not coming in tomorrow.
No, I won't be there in the morning.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But we'll see.
Nope. Yeah.
What? You say thank you?
I said, we'd be hobbled.
Oh.
Hobbling around here. You walk through the gate and fall down. Bam. There you go. Strike three.
I tell you, one of the first things it reminded me of is one of our fabulous guests we had last week, Tom Duty. You know, what an inspiration he is. And, you know, sitting around here, I'm hobbling around with a brace. And, you know, I'm like, there's nothing, Chris. Get over it, son. Just keep moving on. But I can't drive, so I can't get to the studio. And Kathy loves me, but not enough to get me there this early.
Doesn't she knows better. She doesn't want you to be here.
You're wearing a leg brace, you said, a knee brace?
Yes.
Well, that means you still can stand up at the stove. So there you go, Kathy. There you go, Kathy.
Well, she's been very nice because, 3 weeks ago she had her right knee done, and mine is the right knee.
Mm-hmm.
So,
she went under the knife, and then a few minutes later she got up and left and went back and started plowing the back 40, right?
She's trying to call right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's trying to call right now.
You know those Marines.
Yeah, I know. Right.
I have missed being with my friends on the show and the listeners, and I appreciate all the kind thoughts you've given me.
You'll be back. All right.
I will be back. Real quick, there was I'm taking time from the weather forecast.
We've already done it.
Just let me know. Okay. But two stories really bothered me. One was, as you're talking about the fentanyl, which is just, we do need somebody's got to do something. And I think, Rafer, you're right. These tunnels underground, the cartels and stuff, they've got this down. They've got down to a science. People see it on TV and these people are gloved up, masked. They're mass producing this stuff faster than we can get rid of it.
Yeah. We get a lot of it, but
But-
we only touch it. We don't just barely touch it.
But
Chris, you need to turn your
Go ahead.
computer on because you need to listen to this next caller. We got
That's
a
right.
caller on the line right now. So
okay, I will
so
talk to y'all later on.
you need to listen very closely to
That's
this
right.
caller. Okay,
If it's Tom,
it's not Tom.
No, it's not
That's not
Tom.
Tom.
But
It's
you better
not Tom.
you better be sitting up straight. You better get that toast in the toaster.
You better be right.
I'll be listening. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you. Might be time for a little Bailey's in that coffee for him this morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Tom. Tom.
Cassie!
How are you feeling?
Hey, I'm up and around and boogieing.
Good for you.
Okay.
I gotta take care of the lame over here. They're called
Ouch.
the lame. Yeah,
He
that's
just
what-
couldn't handle
that's
you.
what-
He couldn't handle you getting all the attention, could he?
Well, he could have done it to the left one, not the right one. It had to be the same as me, but yeah, I know he was in pain because when he was walking, it was bad. I was like, okay, yeah, you need to go in to be seen. So yeah, but well, yeah.
Those knees can mess you up pretty bad. That's
Yes,
for
they
sure.
can.
Yeah, it's sad that it kind of shows your age. But I always thought, like I said, with my injury, I thought it was a sports injury, a meniscus. It's a torn meniscus
Right.
as a sports injury. So when they asked me what happened to mine, I was like, I stepped in a mole hole.
A mole hole. Girl, I've got to come over there and help you.
Yeah, you need to fill
Yeah,
those
well,
things
you
in
do,
with concrete.
because a whole yard to be concrete, Rayford.
Oh, well, you know what? You don't have to mow it that way.
Kathy, I got rid of
Paint it
mine.
green. Put
I
some
got rid of mine.
Green dye on it. You'll be good to go.
I'm gonna come over and help you
Oh
one
my
day.
God. Yeah, I swear. Okay, I appreciate that, Lee. I really do. But hey, I want to know if you guys you're good at researching stuff about a 30-year-old Miss Universe from 2017 who died when an elk.
She's a Russian. Russian. She just got married.
Wait, she what? She
yeah.
died?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Well, Kathy has got it too. She was in a wreck. She just
Mhm.
got married, newlywed, and she and her husband, they're out driving around. I think it was in Russia, right? I know she's Russian. But
Yeah, I think I said it was
Anyway.
Russia. Yeah.
she got attacked.
She got attacked?
Yeah, tell her about it, Kathy.
Well, all I read about was that she had hit this elk and it went through the windshield,
An elk
And-
penetrated her windshield and killed her.
killed her. She had massive bleeding. She was unconscious in a coma when they got her to the hospital. They got her out of the coma and got her were working on her and everything, and she went back into a
Oh,
coma
I
and
see
ended
it
up
now.
dying of sepsis.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see
she
it
died
now,
of
yeah.
sepsis.
she's 30 years
I
old.
just 30 years old, yeah.
Yes.
And I can't pronounce her name, Lee.
I didn't try.
I'll leave that one. I think I can get the last name, but I can't get her first name.
Oh, man. She was,
Alexander.
yes.
Yeah, but
She was,
are you reading about it?
her vehicle was a Porsche, and the elk went through the windshield, and she suffered severe brain injuries.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
wow.
sad? And she's a beautiful, beautiful woman too. I was reading about it, and I looked
Her
at her
husband
picture.
survived.
Oh my
She
God!
was Miss Universe, I think, or
A former Miss
Yes,
Universe.
yes, Miss Universe. Miss Universe in 2017.
2017, you're right.
Yep.
You're right, Kathy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kathy. Oh, she's a beautiful woman.
hey.
Wow.
Isn't she beautiful?
She's
But I just
beautiful.
want to bring that up and to say that you never know. The deer around here is the same way.
we've had it around here with deer a lot. A friend of mine,
Yeah.
he worked for the county, worked in the mosquito control thing about 10 years ago or so. He and his wife were on, I think it was 258. It could have been one of the side roads there, but going along, and a deer jumps out right through the windshield. Jumps
my
out into
gosh.
the windshield.
Holy moly.
He's dead.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And I always thought that they said that it's like a deer in the headlight with their headlights on,
Yeah.
or the deer with their headlights.
Yeah.
But a deer, when the headlights hit them, they normally freeze.
Yeah.
These deer around here don't. They do
Well,
not do it.
This
They
was
do not heat the headlights.
actually this happened before it got dark with this guy, with this young man.
Oh,
And he and the deer, when the deer, I don't know whether you've seen them before, but sometimes they may be being chased by dogs, They might
Those are crazy now.
they might be just running. They might head for the road and they through the woods and they just say, well, there's a clearing there, and they keep on going. They don't stop and look
Right.
left or right.
That's right.
It's upon us to, in deer country, slow down
Oh, wait a
and
minute.
be
Yeah.
careful.
You do have to, because I was riding on 258 and I saw a fawn laying at the side of the road, and
Yeah, I
that
saw.
bothered me so bad, because I figured that the mother and the baby were traveling together, and the mother got away, but the baby didn't.
It happens a lot. Yep.
I know, and it's sad. It's like if you saw the doe, then slow down, because you don't know what might be behind the doe. So, but
Doe, a
like I said,
deer.
it's
A
Yeah.
female deer.
But anyhow, that's my
Okay,
bad
Kathy,
news for.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I will
Sure.
take good care of Chris so he can be
Tie that
Tie him
kangaroo
down.
down until he gets
Good
fixed.
Lord. I've got some handcuffs if you need them.
Oh, I got some of those, girlfriend. So, yep.
Mine don't
Yeah.
have the fuzz on them though, Kathy.
Yeah.
I know at least 3 people in here who have handcuffs.
I saw that look on his
Ours
face.
are not fur lined.
No,
Or at least.
neither.
Okay.
Mine aren't either, but
Okay.
y'all have a great
Thank you,
day.
Kathy.
And,
You too, Kathy. Lord, Mike, help us. Please help us.
That was a busy morning already, right?
I know it was getting a little bit out there.
And we have a gentleman in here. He's the other person in here with handcuffs running around. I don't even know where mine are. And my wife has put a bunch of stuff in a cedar chest somewhere. that
She
used to
probably
have-
tired. She's
whatever.
just like put those
Put
away.
things away, and I don't know where the stuff is, and I'm not going rumbling around. I got enough junk out here. How you doing, Chief?
Good, good. How
Good.
about you?
Doing fine. Mike Inera is joining us, and the retired police chief, retired public safety director.
Yes.
50 years, one half of a. You must have been 12 years old.
I was 15.
15 years old. I wasn't
15
that
years-
far off there.
15 years old.
So, and did public service work ever since. Public first responder, all sorts of good stuff. So,
Well, at 15 back then,
sure. Yep.
you could be an EMT and a paramedic,
Yeah.
and so I started doing that.
People don't understand that that's the way we used to be able to do things.
Yeah,
Like driving a school bus when I was 16. Who would thunk that one today, right?
right.
Who would give me a shotgun at age 11 or 12 to walk out of this door down the street, down there to where it's all houses now, but where the woods were, under cover of darkness, and go squirrel hunting? Today, I would have a SWAT here. Come in. What are you doing? So, but it's a different time.
It was a different time.
And we were more responsible in those days, weren't we?
I hope so.
I hope so too. So, anyway, running for the Jacksonville City Council, and things are heating up a little bit. Maybe I haven't heard a whole lot of
I have not heard
discourse.
Jacksonville has been extremely quiet, but we'll talk about other towns later. Just crazy.
Not all are like Jacksonville. But what the? Yeah, I was kind of curious about platform, and I was talking yesterday. I said, cops, when they work, you being in the top dog's position, you got to see every report from every police officer as things happened, that you knew every corner of this city from one end to the other. Is there anything that was happening that you weren't aware of?
most things I was aware of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, smaller things I wasn't.
Sure.
but-
Well, I'm talking
But
about significant things.
Yeah, I mean, just like a year or two ago, I would be really watching this hurricane and
Oh, you-
preparing and things like that. And
Making sure everybody was ready to do it.
right, and that was part of my responsibilities to do that. And so I learned a lot. I learned a lot for the last 30 years in both Bristol, Tennessee, when I was there.
Mhm.
I attended most of the council meetings. So I got to hear a whole lot of different things, from sewer to
Yeah.
community development to economic development. And my experience with the Commission on Accreditation for Law, and I just got back from Wisconsin doing an assessment of the Oshkosh Police Department.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been doing those quite often since I retired. I've been to Massachusetts and Ohio, and I've been doing those for about 30 years.
Now, when you go to another town to do an assessment of their police department, you walk in. Are you there for what, 24 hours, and you got it under wraps?
Oh, no. It's about 5 or 6 days.
Really?
Yeah. So you spend about 5 or 6 days, and a lot of that work used to be when I
Coming
started.
up to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. You're fine.
We used to do that, we used to do it in 7 days. Because we come in and we look at the policies and procedures, and then we look at the proofs that they put in, how they indicated they were meeting those standards.
Mm-hmm.
But since we become virtual, we're doing those more and more virtually before we get there, so that when we get there, we have a lot of community discussions about the quality of law enforcement services and the quality of the efficiency of the department and those kinds of things, with a lot of community members and a lot of agency, a lot of partner agencies, and so it's designed to paint a picture of the department so the commission can decide if the department is being accredited. So I've learned quite a bit on.
You know, I heard one time that it's not fair for a police officer, because he's going to be tainted. He's going to be leaning in one direction. He's going to be on the side of the officers all the time, to come in and to do any evaluations or what. You need to get a civilian review board of just people.
Well, you know, that's kind of an interesting, because, you know, that's some of the discussion, and some of the agencies, I won't mention them, have independent review boards, and the issues that those boards bring are very interesting. One of the things is that they don't really understand. I mean, for example, use of force. They don't understand what the law says. They don't understand. If a civilian board was educated, then maybe they could do that. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, they appoint somebody to that board and they don't get educated. They don't understand the dynamics, you know, of a rapidly evolving situation. Right. And, you know, because when it's rapidly evolving, what happens is it really doesn't lend itself to make different kinds of decisions. And so, you know, the idea of de-escalation, which is an overused word, but the idea of de-escalation is the fact that you slow it down, you slow the situation down, and then it gives you more opportunities to make decisions. And that's and I don't know that that when we put civilians in that position to make those decisions, when we're just talking about use of force, because they make other decisions about discipline and things like that sometimes can hinder a police chief from effectively administering his department.
We had I know a department. I wasn't associated with it, but I knew it fairly well. Knew all the guys there. They had a civilian advisor working for the city, for the police department. Came out. You remember the days of wheel guns, of Model 19 and the Model 66, 357 Magnums, right? She thought it might be a good idea. She read in a book somewhere where they made aluminum bullets for their 357 revolvers. So she thought it would be a good idea. And so she kind of mandated it through city council to switch over to aluminum bullets. The first time one had shot at a car that was coming down it was a druggie, trying to run over the police officer, he fired through the windshield. Just a regular windshield. And the bullet, all it did was hit the windshield and bounce. It flattened the bullet out to a piece of metal. He was almost killed. They quit using aluminum bullets. Sometimes you got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if the board and some of the boards do have an education process.
This was
and-
not a board. This was an individual.
Yeah, some are educated and some are not, and they make decisions that impact not just the police department but the lives of the community
yeah.
that they're serving.
Oh,
And that's they need to take that a lot of those boards need to take that responsibility more seriously.
so these towns are the police departments that hire you to come in to do an evaluation to assess them, see what they need or what they're doing right or wrong. Is that done because they're having problems?
No,
Or
no,
is it-
it's the Commission on Accreditation.
Oh,
they
that's what
become
it is.
Yeah, they
Oh,
come,
got it.
so actually, I am employed by the Commission on Accreditation for law
Gotcha.
enforcement agencies,
All right.
and and I write a report and it goes to the commission, and then the commission decides if the department is going to be accredited or not.
Okay.
Just like the Joint Commission for Hospitals
Right. Yep.
and school commissions that do accreditation.
Because you don't go anywhere where they're having some possible problems then.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Sometimes if it's an accredited agency, some consent decrees will require a department to be accredited, and so we'll go in and we'll evaluate the policies and procedures and how they're doing those policies and procedures. But that experience has given me a wide variety of different kinds of opportunities to look at communities, because community engagement is the basis for police departments.
Okay, let's go a little bit wider now. The police department makes up a big chunk of this city, Jacksonville.
Sure.
And it's got a lot of people, and you're out 24/7. And with you as public safety director, you had the fire department as well. So you had even broader territory. A whole lot of stuff went down.
Right.
As a city councilman, I assume that would help you, since you have a pretty working knowledge of the city itself. And like you say, you go to council meetings. You probably have attended more council meetings than the city council people have, with fewer absences.
I've learned a lot. Learned a lot about sewer. Learned a lot about roads. Learned a lot about economic development. And it's been an interesting journey to see exactly, how governments are run. And I worked for a state government, worked for a county government, worked for 3 municipalities. So I've had a wide range of opportunities to see that. Plus the experience with the commission. I went to one agency where they had a mall that was pretty much empty, and they were talking about how they were going to redevelop it. That made me think a lot about the Sears building and
Sure.
and the Red Lobsters that's closed down. How are the things that we need to do to encourage that? And when I was both in Jacksonville and Bristol, we did a weed and seed program. And the weed part was the easy part. That was the law enforcement part. The seeding part was a little bit more challenging. And so in both of those cases, we brought in economic development experts from Washington because the Department of Justice sponsored it. And there were a lot of things that they brought up that both communities used to improve the quality of life of citizens.
Other areas to look at their police departments, to look at their cities. How does the city of Jacksonville and, of course, the police department here compare to these other places that you go?
Well, of course, I'm a
You're going
little
to be
bit
biased.
biased.
I don't understand.
And I think
But if everything was totally 100%, you wouldn't need to be city councilman, would you?
that's right. That's right. I think our public safety is above every agency. Of course, I'm biased, but I think
Rightfully so.
I think they do a great job. As a city councilman, I think, the most important thing that we need to do is start to look at how we use economic development. Because the challenges that our city faces all have to do with really economic as a basis of economic development. You know, when you talk about taxes and you know, there's a lot of people struggling out there.
A lot of people in this community are on
Yes.
fixed incomes.
That's right. That's right. And so you know, when we talk about taxes, one of the things I think we need to do is focus on economic development. About 60% of jobs and half the GDP are small businesses. And so, what are the things that we can do to encourage small businesses? You know, I went to one community where they use tax increment financing. When we were in Bristol, that was one of the suggestions that the economic from the Weed and Seed, and Bristol used it quite extensively. And so bringing that kind of, those kinds of economic incentives to encourage people to open small businesses are ways that we can grow the tax base, but not necessarily tax our citizens that with property taxes. You know, if they came in just like that Sears been empty for how many years?
Too long.
Yeah, so aren't we looking at that? You know, Red Lobster's been gone for a year and there's nothing in that building.
Has it been gone that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so what are the things that we can do to encourage us to revitalize that particular area? And even our downtown, you know, there's incentives for historical buildings. There's incentives for other small businesses, enterprise zones, those kinds of things. And you know what I've learned over it is that communities that focus on economic development and the small businesses are the most successful. And so that's where I think we need to do. And I've heard from people saying, you know, I'm a small business, and it's difficult to make it in there. And that the way that tax increment financing works is that when the business first starts out, they pay less taxes, and it gives them an opportunity to start to stabilize that business, because the first 2 years are the most crucial in a small business. I remember my grandfather had a store, and you know that it was all hands on deck. You know, my mom and my aunt, my dad, my brothers, we all had to work in that little store in order to make ends meet for my grandparents. And so I understand those concepts of small businesses.
Washington, D.C., crime-ridden Washington, D.C., if you want to believe some people, which I think they're probably accurate, and the homeless camps that are there, right, kind of like a blight on the city. The crime rate, people coming, if I go to France, I want to go see Paris, right, because it's the capital. If I go anywhere, I kind of want to go see of another country. I want to see their capital. I want to see where things started and where governments run. A lot of folks are having problems coming to Washington, D.C. these days. When I was growing up, my dad, oh God, I can't tell you the number of trips we took to D.C. because we couldn't get to all of the memorials and all of the places to go see at that time in one trip, because it takes a day to go through some of those places. I went through every monument there at the time, the memorials,
Yes.
to the Treasury Department to watch those $20 bills come off in big sheets.
I want to go again.
I said, give me some.
We need a group.
FBI headquarters down in the basement where they were shooting. They took us, and I was the only kid there. So I got to carry home some 45 caliber from a Thompson casings. Had them for years. I have no idea where they are. But I was a little kid. Those things, I doubt very seriously if my dad would want to take us to D.C. right now as kids. He
Can understand.
He wanted to protect us even back then, but so he could do it. But it's Washington. Jacksonville is not Washington. but we do have some issues. We have an area over there that's the city kind of control New River. We have people that were removed from homes that were paying very low rent in those places, but those places have become pretty dilapidated. Are we doing anything? Are we doing enough in this city to provide some really low rent housing?
That's a challenge, especially with the BAQ that the military provides.
Right.
It artificially raises, and that's something that we definitely need to. Affordable housing is extremely important, but affordable housing goes to high paying jobs, and so one of the things that we need to do is have a multi-pronged strategy, to get folks high-paying jobs, but also look at affordable housing. When I was in one of those towns, one of the things that they did was they created a tiny house village, and that village was on a piece of property, had a community center, but it had small houses that help people transition so that they could get the resources they need. They could get their job. They could get stabilized. And I think that we need to look at something similar to that. The other thing that you talked about was the crime. And I really think it's really my belief that public safety is extremely important in the community, because if you want to attract businesses, if you want to attract visitors, if you want to have a vibrant shopping district or a vibrant downtown, all those are really just like you said, you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to go to Washington D.C. if you think you're going to be in danger. So public safety is extremely important because it's tied to economic development. It's tied to those kinds of things.
Well, yeah, and Lisa, I have a question too, but I've watched the public safety aspect of it here and in other places. We're doing very well here.
I think
having
so.
lived in other areas where crime was really rampant at times. Most of those places have gotten things under control a little bit, but we've still got drugs. I had one this morning about fentanyl. Mm-hmm. Still there, still killing 110,000 people every year in this country. Mm-hmm. Fentanyl. We've got people in these high-paying jobs that may or may not be staying here very long. They come in, but they don't want to buy a big home or anything else, so they do want some affordable housing other than a motel room. What about mobile homes? At one time, there were mobile homes everywhere. People who could not afford it was a starter home. This is something for them. Some never got out of it, of course, but it was something for them. They always got a bad rap. But, I like the tiny home concept. I don't know whether mobile home villages here would work out very well or not.
I don't know either, but it's something that we need to look at. How do we make homes more affordable? How do we look at, and I think that our community development department does an excellent job because they have an education process. And so if there's folks out there that really want to learn about how they can afford, then one of the things is they could take some of those classes. Take some of those classes that educate them on how to go about, and they have these education classes on a very regular basis. Mm-hmm. And then like downtown and some other places in the community, what they've done is some of these companies have come in and built some affordable homes that are very, very nice.
And that's the question I wanted to ask you. Excuse me for interrupting, but in your platform, you talked about championing adaptive reuse projects that transform vacant buildings into vibrant housing and mixed use spaces.
So so let's go back to the Sears building.
Yeah.
That building is empty, and it's been empty for a number of years. And a lot of communities use that kind of facility. I was in a community just in the last where they tore down their old Sears building and they're building condominiums attached to a mall. And so the idea is that you build these condominiums attached to a mall, and what it does is it makes it more walkable. It makes it more appealing to young people. It's just like if you go to Mayfair, you
Right.
have the
Yes,
apartments
yes.
over
It's a
top.
city in a city.
Yeah,
Right.
and what it does is it encourages walking, and it really does improve quality of life. And so if we have the opportunity to look at those things and how we partner with developers to do that, I think we can effectively do that for this generation that likes to walk, that likes to be where there's restaurants and shopping and those kinds of things.
Well, do you think that we could probably further streamline the process that we have right now for the development review process that supports quality projects? While public interest, do you think we can streamline that more and make it easier for the developers?
I think we need to. I think that's something we have to do. I think there are opportunities. I mean, simple things like having a quarterly meeting with developers and talking about the UDO and how the UDO is affecting how they do those things.
And the UDO?
Is our zoning codes basically, and so thinking about how we can bring folks together to say, oh, this is an impediment, and then publishing it, being very transparent about it. So how long does it take to get a permit? So that permit may be,
Right.
I mean, does it take 10 days? Does it take 20 days? And have a dashboard up there on the city's website and say, look, this is how long it takes you to get a permit. And, having fast tracks for other ones, like, for example, housing, when a company comes in and doing housing, they don't need a plan review like some other more complex buildings, like the public safety building. They don't need a complex because they're cookie cutter houses.
Right.
And so how do we streamline that process to encourage people to build so that they're not having to go back and tear things out, and there is that opportunity. And
No need to reinvent the wheel. From house to house to house, they're all alike.
Yeah, and so a lot of communities streamline that process, and a lot of them give them incentives too.
Sure.
So there's if you don't have to have review after review after review, you get an incentive, and that may be a reduction in property taxes for the first year. It may be a reduction in fees. It may be a reduction in so just like you said, there's the public interest and there's also the developer's interest. But I think it's a partnership, and I think we have to grow the partnership if we're going to effectively address housing, address economic development, encourage small businesses. Because I know somebody who's trying to open a small business, and they're having some struggles right now, trying to find location and trying to go through that process. Even if it's having seminars on how people can do that, because if you're working as a police officer for 46 years and you come in and you say, I want to open a business, you might have public safety, but you might not understand all the ins and outs of what we need to do to encourage our business development.
There have been a lot of people in small businesses, and I understand it because I've worked in them too.
Yeah.
But a small business, a mom and pop business, when they buy products to put on their shelves, they don't buy them in $1 million increments. They have to pay more for their individual products than a Walmart or an Academy Sports or anybody else, because they buy them in bulk. They can sell them for less money than the other retail store, the mom and pop, can actually buy them. There have been many cases that I was witness to, could go to Walmart and buy some things, come back and put your regular markup on them, and still make more money than buying them from your supplier. That's one of the problems with mom and pops situation like that. It's too bad that the mom and pop groups don't have a conglomeration that they can all get together and buy it at the same price that the Walmarts or Academies or whoever buys it.
Well, there's a lot of there's a couple state programs that provide they provide technical assistance for small businesses. There's also federal government. There's these mini grants, and the city just worked on some of those grants and approved some of those. And so the city, the county, the state, and the federal government all have opportunities, but a lot of people just don't understand, don't know where to go to get those opportunities. And so creating some kind of path for somebody to open their small business, I think, is extremely important. For example, there's a federal grant out there that a small business can get infrastructure, they can get technical assistance, and they can get other incentives so that they can get their business off the ground. And once it stabilizes after a couple of years, then it incrementally the taxes go up. But when it first starts, those are the things that are important to encourage small business development.
One of the complaints that I hear, and sometimes it might be coming from me, it might be coming from other people, locally owned and operated, not fast food restaurants, but restaurants where you can go and sit down and have a good meal. We've got plenty of places, and I understand why the Outbacks, the chain restaurants, I understand why they're in business, because we got a lot of military coming from other areas where they're familiar with these places. So they don't have to go sample anything. But there are a whole lot of us around here who are not military. We would like to have some fine dining places. And I'm not talking about the Ruth Chris and all that stuff. Those things can be expensive. Something moderately priced. A good Italian restaurant. We used to have a great one, but hurricane killed it. Paisano's there on Henderson. Places like that, local seafood places. It's tough to find some of them sometimes.
But again, what we need to be doing is we need to be focusing on how can we encourage people, because like I said, 60% of employees are employed by small business, and half our gross national product is small businesses. And so, just like you said, I mean, if we can encourage folks to open small restaurants and work with them to match the challenges that a small business has, I think we can be successful.
Now, then I'm going to blame the rest of us a little bit here too. The customers, the consumers, the people who go spend money here, there, and everywhere. Oh God, I can't go over there because I can get it for a nickel cheaper by ordering it online, and it'll be here before I can get home.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, the Amazons and the eBays and the whatever else, wherever you want to shop.
I'm guilty.
You will buy something and look at it. No, I can buy that somewhere else. So I'll take it back.
Well, part of that is this concept of these I'll go back to like Mayfair is, you know, when people walk through businesses and they see something,
Impulsive buying.
well, and that helps with, and so mixing restaurants and small businesses and encouraging them to grow provides so many benefits to a community that it's something that we need to focus on. And I'm not discounting the fact that we need to look at larger businesses and be more diversified, because I think that's going to be an important step as well. I mean, looking at you know, big industries to come in here and encouraging them to grow, but part of that is making sure our community's safe, making sure we have the amenities for it, and making sure that you know, that there's a good quality of life, because nobody wants to move to a community that's that doesn't offer recreation, doesn't offer other opportunities.
I think council and the county commissioners are stepping up to the plate too. But as far as recreation is concerned,
Oh, yes.
everybody's stepping up here. I mean, we've heard it for so long. There's nothing to do around here. So we're actually producing things for people to do, other than if those who don't want to go fishing or boating or whatever, then there's still other stuff to do around here.
Well, I was when I was just recently, it was warm where I went, and one of the things that I did was I had dinner downtown, and then I walked to the square, and they were having music that was sponsored by the businesses.
Excuse me.
And they were encouraging them to, you know, that encouraged those businesses. They were open, and they were providing food, and you know, there were kids. There was probably several hundred people listening to music in the squares, and you know, a lot of them had gone to local restaurants and bought food and were sitting in the. And I think those are the activities that we need to encourage.
We have a gentleman on the line here that I've known for a long time. He used to be one of those police guys too, you know. Then he became a county commissioner, as an entrepreneur, and then he became the commission chairman. Now he's a man of leisure, Jack Bright. Hey, Jack, what's up?
Hey, Jack.
Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Rayford and Lee. Good to have good people that decide to continue to serve in a way to help the community and help the citizens. Mike, I congratulate you on your service and congratulate you for stepping up to the plate and willing to serve and continue to serve the community of Jacksonville and Onslow County. It's really hard now to get candidates that don't have an axe to grind to get up and serve. A lot of people that file for office now, they've had a problem with the city, or they've had a problem with the county, and they step up and they want to serve because they have one particular item that they want to take care of, and then a lot of the other stuff goes by the wayside for the county business and for city business. I really appreciate Mike, you stepping up and willing to serve, and I'm sorry I missed your meet and greet that was scheduled. I had a couple of issues that I had to take care of and couldn't make the event. But thank you for stepping up. Thank you for wanting to serve, and thank you for having the open mind about all the issues that come before the council, and having the knowledge to be able to work through and hear all sides of the story, because there's never just one side.
Well, I certainly appreciate, you're kind of role models for everybody that leaves public service. You know, you spend a lot of time in the police department, moving that department forward, and then your time on the county commission. I certainly appreciate what you've done for the community, as all of Onslow County. And I think, from my standpoint, and I'm probably yours too, I mean, the police department teaches you that one thing that we really need to do is improve the quality of life, and whether that's addressing crime for juveniles, which is a challenging problem, or economic development, or affordable housing. All those things make our community a better place. And just like, my wife Faye and I have decided to make Jacksonville our home, and we want to see it. We want to see it grow, and we want to see it be a better place to live.
Well, being in law enforcement, like I was and yourself too, but like I was there for 30 years in one place there at Jacksonville PD, and you build a relationship with folks that you work with, like Sammy Phillips. Sammy and I worked both at JPD, and both had 30 years of service, or some. I think Sammy may have had a couple more years, but retiring as deputy chief and building that relationship is what made things happen when Sammy was elected city council and then mayor. And then, if you remember, Chief, several years ago, you and I had a conversation about the fire station over on Commons Drive, about the need for the city to maybe expand the fire department, and that the city may entertain the idea of selling the fire station to the EOC, which the Emergency Operations Center needed to expand because they were tremendously space challenged. And because of the relationship I had with you and the mayor, it come to be that the county was able to purchase that property, the fire station, and the surrounding 9 acres there for $1 million, which was unheard of for that property in the Commons. It was a deal, and now all of that is coming to be that the EOC is expanding. The fire station is being included and added to the Emergency Operations Center, and a lot of other items that the city and the county were able to work together on. And I felt, as former city employee and deputy chief, that we could work together. And I think a lot of the fences were mended because of that relationship.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I hope it continues to grow, because the city taxpayers pay county taxes as well, and
we all know.
And one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we're working together, and we're not duplicating services, and we're being efficient in how we do things. And I think regular meetings with the county commission and the city council are important to have those dialogues. I mean, we went through that with the mental health when we opened the Dix Crisis Center. The city and the county got together, and I think you were chairman at the time with Mayor Phillips, and we encouraged those discussions and actually got Dix Crisis Center open. And I think that's another success. Just like the fire station, I think that was a win-win situation for the city to get a much more modern, more effective fire station for those folks, and to improve the quality of the services that emergency management are providing by getting them a more modern, up-to-date building.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I don't think there was ever a time that I didn't call you, even since I have retired, that I didn't call you and you were able to answer, or you call back immediately after that. And that's communication and being in contact with the citizens and the folks that you work with is really, really important in a political field if you can't get up with the folks that's in office, then I think they're doing a disservice to the community.
Well,
But anyway, I'll let you.
I definitely would agree with that. I think that's been some of the success and some of the things that I've encouraged with both the police and fire staff is to remain engaged with the community. I think that's the way that we hear things and that we can address people's concerns.
Absolutely. Well, I'll close here and let you folks get back to the interview and your time there at the station with Rayford. And you folks have a great day. Have
Thanks,
a great
Jack.
Jack, thank you.
week coming up.
I do appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Here's a really complex question I want to ask you as part of your platform, because we're talking about growth in Jacksonville. As the area's population increases, more infrastructure is required to service the growing number of residents. Is building and maintaining a high quality infrastructure primarily a government responsibility, or should new development be required to pay for improvements to this public infrastructure?
That's a little complex.
That is a very involved question.
Yeah, it's part of this platform, though.
But it's a partnership. It's a
Right.
partnership between the city and it's a partnership with the with the developer.
Mhm.
In order to get high quality housing, high quality businesses, I mean, we have to sit down. We have to be able to communicate very well together, and we have to look at what our vision is. And if our vision is to have a very vibrant community and making sure that that we have affordable housing and making sure that we have high paying jobs, then we have to look at what that direction is.
Mhm.
Again, it's a partnership, just like sitting down and saying, okay, here are the things that we can do from a developer standpoint. Here are the things that the city needs. That can help with that, because again, it's like I said, it's just a partnership that needs to be, that we need to focus on.
Well, what are some of the benefits of growth and some of the detrimental effects from growth? Growth.
I think some of the things that are difficult with growth is increased infrastructure, because as you have more people, you have more challenges as far as police and fire, but you also have more challenges with water and with sewer and making sure. I remember when I first came here, we were under a moratorium for water and sewer, and that stifled Jacksonville's growth for a number of years, and I still think we're still feeling some of those effects. But I think that what we have to do is we have to look at what's fair for our citizens, because that's the most important thing. As when you talk about platform, the most important thing is our citizens. The next most important thing is our employees, and the third most important is the projects. And so, what's beneficial for the citizens? What's beneficial for our employees? And then we look at these development projects. So is it going to benefit our citizens by increasing the amount of putting a new subdivision in or building different kinds of buildings? And I think if the answer is yes, then one of the things that we have to do is look at it and see what we can do to make that vision a reality.
The building inspections department. The city's inspectors inspect the same things that the county inspectors inspect outside the city limits. Is that right? They do. They all abide by the same code. It's called North Carolina, right?
Well, so a city can make it a little bit more strict, and so there's some nuances there. But go ahead.
Would not it make a lot of sense for something like that? Not generally across the board, because I don't think they work out very well from what I've seen, but a consolidated building inspection department. So everybody's on the same page, one boss and they can inspect anywhere. It's a county operation, basically. Every house that goes up in here also has to conform to county requirements, right?
I'm not so sure about that. I think the county has their inspection area,
They do.
and then with zoning laws, and then inside the city, it's a little bit different.
Zoning laws and the inspections laws, they're kind of related, but
Right.
just because
Well,
where they can do things.
But I also think, again, if we go back to how we educate people, how we make sure that folks understand what the building codes are, providing incentives for folks that because if somebody comes in and they don't have to, when we talk about being efficient, if they have there's a checklist, and I'm sure the city and county both provide checklists, but if they're more comprehensive, so that when they submit their building permit and submit for their building permit, it eases the burden on those building inspectors. Then I think, and then they might get an incentive for that.
Here's what I'm thinking. We know that a city is going to expand. It's going to grow beyond its current borders, right? It has.
Mm-hmm.
There's no forced annexation anymore, but there are places, a community outside the city that springs up, a subdivision. If they have a different building code that they're enforcing, and then the city ends up taking them in at their request at some point in time, and then Joe from Missouri wants to move into a home in this location, and it might not have built to meet the same standards that the city it's now located in requires. That might be something that I would want to take a look at. If I knew that's what was happening, I said, well, did they require them to have the same number of outlets on a wall or whatever?
I think some of those are standardized, but some things aren't.
Yeah.
Some things aren't standardized. For example, sidewalks and a developer providing property for a fire station or a school. I mean, those are individual community decisions. The general statute allows them to basically that municipality or that county to make those kinds of decisions. And sometimes that increases the cost. And so I think some of that is some of the things that we need to be very conscious of, because if somebody's building a development, their ultimate goal is profit. From their standpoint, from the city standpoint, it's encouraging growth and taking care of our citizens. So we got to try to balance that to make sure that it's good for them and it's good for our citizens as well.
As city councilman, could you make arrangements to increase the taxes on some individual, one particular, and reduce my taxes to offset my whatever?
I don't think Theo lives in the city.
Yeah, he doesn't, but we could annex him or somehow or another. Theo, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. What's going on, Chief? Welcome to Drama Country. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you? It's been a long time, Theo.
Yeah, it has. I just want to ask you, when I go to Greece, right in Athens, there's building after building attached to each other, and they're co-ops. The people buy the apartment. How come we can't put anything talking about affordable housing? Why can't you put a 4-story building up and have 3-4 apartments in there, times 4 or 5, talk about 12, 15 families, and make them into co-ops, which I think would be cheaper than anything else. I know you're talking about tiny houses and you talk about mobile homes, but that takes more land. And then the people have to cut the grass and everything. There's a lot of people don't want to do that. The older people just want a nice apartment. Why can't you think about co-ops? What do you think about co-ops? Well, you put a building up and they buy the apartment inside.
Well, I think that's obviously a something that we should explore. But when we talk like Mayfair, I mean, they have multiple apartments over the businesses, and so that multi-use function a lot of times makes it more efficient and effective for folks. So they don't have to mow the lawn, and having some green spaces. I stayed in I stayed in a hotel, and one community was doing an assessment, and they had apartments above the businesses, and all the businesses were on the bottom floor.
Mhm.
And then they had a lot of green spaces open so that so folks could enjoy a night like a nice summer night, and they could go out and they could walk their dog, they could listen to music. I mean, all those kinds of things are important, and I think one of the things that we should be looking at is how do we encourage that kind of development, and how do we encourage it more effectively?
There's kind of like townhouses or condominiums or whatever. I owned a townhouse, which there were 6 units in this building, one building that I was in. So, I just paid for my one place.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Yeah, but a co-op is different. It's in a building. They all share an HOA, which is pretty minimal, but you have an elevator, and I think the home should be cheaper in a building where there's 2-3 apartments in every floor. I mean, you can house 12, 15 families like that. Can I ask you about that hotel that closed about 2-3 years ago in down? I forgot the name of it. What are you doing about that?
The red carpet used to be Holiday Inn.
The red carpet,
yes.
Yeah,
Why don't you turn that into condominiums?
They could turn it into condominiums. Of course, it's privately owned. That's the challenge, and as long as they're paying their taxes, there are some things that the city could do eventually. But, we're talking about, just like we're talking when we talk about New River. New River is owned by a private corporation, so it makes it more challenging for the government to do things like that in privately owned businesses.
Until it becomes a nuisance.
Yeah, until it becomes a nuisance.
Money talks, right?
Yeah, go buy from them.
But look, they're going to keep it like that. It's on the main highway there, or the main drag, and it just doesn't look good. And how long? I mean, I know it's private, but that doesn't look good for us. We need a little curb appeal here. There's a whole building just sitting there doing nothing, and it's privately owned. So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it means that, we got to balance the difference between what the property rights of the owner are and what the community needs. And I think that becomes somewhat challenging for communities to do because, we went through a process where, eminent domain has been, there's been a lot of challenges to that. So that presents us with challenge. But I agree with you. I mean, we ought to be looking at how we incentivize that person that owns that particular piece of property to look at maybe condominiums, to look at,
why is he losing money?
Yeah, and there's North Carolina has several grant programs that the owner of that property, and so are we engaged with the owner of that property, and how are we telling them, how are we showing them how they can make that more profitable? I mean, those are all questions from an economic development standpoint that we want to do, and from an affordable housing standpoint. And so I think we need to engage in those properties, just like when I talk about the Sears building or the Red Carpet Inn or the Red Lobster. How do we engage those property owners to say, this could be more profitable for you if we do this, and this, and how do we use the tools that we have?
What can we do for you to make this thing viable for you?
Right.
Yes, exactly. But the town to be moving here, not closing up and just staying there for 2 years, 2-3 years. You got to build let me ask you another question, okay? Can you tell me why the restaurants close so early every night and there's no life in the town?
Well,
Let me,
This one's on you, Chief.
If I go to a restaurant, any restaurant, and we sit down to eat, we get there 5:30, we eat, we're on our way home by 7 o'clock, okay? on the way home, the Kettle is closed, Marina Cafe is closed, and a whole mess of others are closed. Only the McDonald's and a couple of those are open. Why? There's no life in this town. Why do you think nobody wants to eat after 7 o'clock? Why is the Kettle closed? It's a diner. Where's the diner that's supposed to be open 24 hours? I mean, I'm from the north, so you know what I'm talking about. Where's the diner supposed to be? There's got to be life after 7 o'clock.
Well,
Why is the Marina Cafe closed at 8 o'clock? There's nobody in their lot. The Kettle and a few other restaurants. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not exactly sure because
it was a crime. They closed.
I'm not exactly sure because I know that there's a lot of restaurants open later at night.
I know that we had Marina Cafe on last year as a sponsor for a while, and I know they were closing at 9. They used to close at like midnight or something like that, but they got out of the being a place where you go to for drinking primarily. They wanted it food related, and they're still closing at 9 o'clock. I think I would guess. I haven't heard differently. The Kettle or diners. A lot of these diners are breakfast and lunch and maybe dinner, but a lot of them are not even open at dinner time. They're breakfast and lunch things. That's what they're.
Well, River,
Angie's,
when
for
everything
instance.
changed was when we had COVID. And everything was shut down.
Yep.
And then business owners realized that they could make just as much money closing at 8 o'clock versus staying open until 11 o'clock.
Yep.
And, they've had to trimline their employment and their employees. And
they could not get employees to
That's
work.
right.
Was
That's
one
right.
of the biggest problems. And
Okay, COVID is gone, but let me ask you something. If you're a young person in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, what are you supposed to do here after 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or even 9 o'clock?
well, I think COVID
You're
did
stuck
teach
in
us
your
something.
house.
we could stay home.
What kind of life is that?
Theo?
Stuck in your house watching TV every night because there's nothing open to go to.
Well, Theo, I think COVID did teach us something in a sense that we found out that we don't need to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and run to Hardee's or McDonald's and get a hamburger. We can wait till morning.
But that's
And
part of life, though.
yeah, I know. We got used to that.
Diners for those people who can't sleep, or so those people who have been going out drinking at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now they go to the diner because they don't want their night to end. They're having a good time. So they're going to the diner. They can have eggs. They can have spaghetti. The diner had anything you wanted at 2 o'clock in the morning. You just prolong the night that you're having a good time and you with your friends, and then you will go to a diner. And some people would have coffee. Some people could not sleep. They say, you know what, I'm going to go to the diner, have a cup of coffee and a cake,
That's why they couldn't sleep.
bother the
That's right.
waitresses. And if the waitresses don't
Life
get
has
something-
changed.
Theo, if the people would do this, I do not hear a clamor to have restaurants open until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I don't hear it. Do you hear it from anybody else?
Well, because they're close. Yeah, I hear it from friends.
Okay.
There's nowhere to go. In other words, once you make that dinner at 5 o'clock,
Mhm.
okay, and if you miss the cooks go home. You can only go there for dinner at a certain time, and then it's over. They're not going to serve you anymore.
Sure. I'll tell you what,
Okay.
I know a place you can buy. It's called the old Red Lobster. You buy it and let's open it. I'll
Put a Greek
I'll be in there to help you.
Let's put in a Greek
Oh,
restaurant.
absolutely.
We need some life in this, Chief. We need some life in this town.
But
at night.
there are opportunities. I mean,
Yeah.
we have our recreation center, the Commons Recreation Center, and they're open for evening activities, whether it's pickleball or basketball and I think those things need to be expanded so that we're providing services. I mean, the Arts Council in Jacksonville has a lot of activities in the evening. They bring in the opera, they bring in different kinds of music, jazz music, those kinds of things. I think sometimes when we say, "Hey, there's no activities," that we're not out there looking for those activities, and we're not taking advantage of the activities that are we used to have Bold used to have
Friday nights.
Friday night
Yeah.
music and things like that. But the attendance got so bad that they discontinued it. So how do we encourage folks to attend those kinds of events? Whether it's music in the park, the city has a nice amphitheater. You know, how can we encourage folks to attend those things so that they're enjoying their lives?
Okay, I'm going to leave that to you. You come up with ideas how to do that. Encourage people to come out. But
You need to put him on a committee.
Now it's going to take a little, little smarts.
All right, Theo, thank you as always,
All
sir.
right, take
All right.
care. Nice to see you again,
All right,
Chief.
you take care.
Uh,
And that's Steve calling now.
Steve calling online on number 2. Steve-O, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
You squeezed in here.
I just squeezed in right underneath the line, right?
You did.
Right.
I hear you. I sent Lee a couple of videos this morning of the ocean out there at the pier.
I was afraid to
They come
click
see
on
some of
them
the waves of
'cause-
some of the surfers.
yeah, see,
Yeah.
my volume, I couldn't watch them yet because of the volume on it.
I got you.
But it
I
looks crazy.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're about probably between 6 and 8 foot right now, and
Wow.
the best part you're not going to get on the surf cam is feeling that pier shake when them big waves crash into it.
I was just watching the boat cam, and I put that link on our page too. So
I got you, I got
You ever been on a fishing pier when the storm's coming in? I mean, a hurricane storm coming in?
no,
I have. Don't want to do it again.
no.
Water
I was
coming
gonna say,
over the
I've been
end
on
of it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was just say I've been on that one where water was spurting up between the boards as the waves were breaking.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you're going to have to be our reporter for the next couple of days and keep us updated on what's happening
Yeah.
on that end.
Wear a life jacket.
I was going to say, I think this one's going to be a tourist event because
It
the
is.
Crystal Coast is still going to be open, and everybody that has to leave from out there at Ocracoke and Hatteras is going to probably come to the Crystal Coast.
Yep. Come on
Yeah,
down.
Dana.
Swansburg's got some great restaurants, and they don't close at 7 o'clock.
No. Well, they got one right there at the pier too that has oceanfront dining. You can go out there and eat dinner and watch them waves crash. And see the surfers out there.
Oceanfront dining might be over the
Raincoat.
intercoastal waterway if you're not careful.
Take the raincoat.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to tell you a story in there right quick. On Sunday, I was out there at the pier, and somebody got in a little bit of trouble out there in the water. And lifeguards were within probably an eighth of a mile in either direction. And we heard them, turn on their sirens and look and see the lights coming and look down at the water. And the surfers were already on the scene. Had
That's
the person
the way
and
it's
bring them
supposed to
back
be done.
shore.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those surfers.
By the time they turn their
Heroes.
sirens on, the surfers are already on site.
Yeah.
So, they're out there. They're a good thing to have out there.
If they don't have lifeguards where you swim, be sure you swim where there are surfers.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah. That's
Okay.
the safest place to be.
Thank you,
So,
Steve.
but other than that, I say everybody go down to the beach. Come on out there and see the waves. It ain't going to be a bad storm, at least for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Today maybe. Tomorrow's going to be picking up. All right, we take care.
I got
Hi.
All right,
Well,
y'all have a blessed day.
You too. Raver, we've run out of time.
I'll give you a real quick update here on
Right.
Aaron, though. Winds are down to 110 miles per hour now.
Yay.
That's looking better, less worse. And it's still moving towards the northwest at 7 miles per hour. So it's going to meander up here. Tomorrow night's going to be the night. Wednesday night it should probably be off of our coast sometime in the middle of the night tomorrow night. But waves are already there. Rips are there. Don't get in the water.
Right. And you're going
Carbon
to
1073s only.
you're going to do updates as the
I will. 11
Right.
o'clock's the next big update.
right. All right, one last question. I don't know. I didn't get to half these questions.
Hey, we got
I mean-
time before the election.
Oh, yes, we have plenty of time for you to come back because we have more questions. But the biggest question on everybody's mind, and I know Rayford wants to ask this question. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. What is your position on local budgets and property taxes?
I don't want to ask it. I want him to cut it.
Well, but I also think, when you talk about property taxes, I mean, those are, I mean, people are struggling. And I think we need to look at what alternatives that we have. I mean, our user fees but I also think and I'm going to go back to economic development. I think that's the way that communities grow, not increasing taxes. So I think lowering our tax rate is something that we need to be focused on.
I'm for that.
Both through efficiencies of the government, and also, the city has some property that they ought to be marketing and getting rid of, and using that.
The textbooks,
Yeah,
let somebody pay for it.
yeah, and I think those are ways that we can reduce the burden on our.
You mentioned taxes. We talked briefly, seconds about it. There are a growing number of people here who are on fixed incomes. Now, when you get X number of dollars coming in every month, and you raise the property taxes, and you're already using every nickel of your X number of dollars coming in for the budgeted out stuff, what do we do? What do those people do at that point in time?
Well,
sell out and move out?
If you look at what it costs you for a car, what it costs you for housing, what it costs for groceries every year, the average income is $60,000 to do that, and that doesn't leave you a whole lot.
No, it doesn't.
To talk about what Theo was talking about, and those are other activities. And so what I think we need to do is I think we need to examine our property taxes and try to keep them as low as possible, and looking for other ways that we can encourage growth in the city budget. And that includes
you're the king of grants. I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you are the king of grants.
We know what committees you're getting assigned.
All of them.
Yeah, but I had somebody argue with me about a grant one time, and they said, well, it's still tax money because it comes from the federal government. I said, well,
I've heard that one.
But my argument is if they're going to give it away, I'd rather have it here.
Yes.
And I'd rather use it for the folks in our community.
We're just bringing our tax money back because we've already paid them for it.
And I think we need to encourage that. I mean, there are a lot of different grants, whether we do opioid grants, whether we do the weed and seed grants that provide some, provided law enforcement with some tools, but it also provided communities with some tools to improve quality of life. I think those are all opportunities that we can use. And I think that we need to maximize that process of what we're looking at. And we also need to maximize the process that we use to encourage people to go to small businesses. Because again, that's really if you really want to focus on growth of city budget, growth of a community, it's those small businesses that are going to make the community a better place.
And as far as for the older group around here, that includes me, and Lee is headed there. We hope you'll get there. But they're, maybe a tiered campaign, because when they've been here for so long, they just don't need any more taxes. And they might not be using as much water as the minimum that we're paying for, or as much garbage as the minimum that we're paying for.
I mean, there are ways to look at our city tax rate. We're coming up with a reevaluation, and I think that's going to be it's going to be challenging to some effect. And what we need to do is look how because people are struggling, and I can see that. And now that I'm on a fixed income, I think it's
you understand.
I understand. You're not gonna have the increases that you were when you're working, and those are all important issues, especially when we talk about quality of life. Because when somebody works for 40 years or 30 years and they retire, they shouldn't have to be worried about making payments or their taxes going up where they can't afford things. And I think it really is a balance. We want to have quality services, but we also want to make sure that that we're not affecting the quality of life, especially for folks that are retiring and on a fixed income. Because we want to encourage that. We want to encourage our military folks to stay in the community when they move here. And there's a lot of reasons for them to stay here. We want to encourage them to stay here. And again, I think the way to do that is through small business development and making sure that we're partnering with the right folks to do that.
Well, some are going to argue, I've heard it already, especially at the county level. Well, we have so many more people coming into town. We've got about build schools for them. We got to do this. Well, yeah, but everyone that comes in here pays taxes. If they buy property here, they pay a lot of taxes. Mm-hmm. But they pay, guess what? Sales tax. They pay a sales tax everywhere they go. They pay sales taxes and I'm still trying to figure out about 10, 12 years ago when it was decided that sales taxes would also apply to the labor when you get your car repaired or your motor repaired. At one time, you only charged sales tax on the parts that were used to fix that car. Now you pay sales tax on the labor. And to work on a car, the smallest amount of money you're paying is going to be for the parts. The highest amounts, the biggest chunk is going to be, what happened to all that money?
And
what happened to all that money? It's somewhere. It was collected. It's being collected.
And I think our legislators, Senator Lazar, Phil Shepard, I mean they've done a good job of trying to bring a lot of that money back into our community. Mm-hmm. But again, I think when we talk about, we hear affordable housing. We hear homelessness.
Somebody's got to pay for it.
And what we need to do is we need to focus on what the underlying causes are. And some of the underlying causes are that it's becoming more and more difficult for some folks in our community to make ends meet. And what we got to do is we got to realize that when we're talking about tax increases and
well, the devil is here, me. I'll get to be his advocate. So you will hear, I've heard, you don't want to make it too attractive for the homeless or the downtrodden because more will come. Well, I'm sure you've probably heard that one before.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's the real part of the challenge. Part of the challenge is the folks that are in our community that are homeless. What we want to do is we want to give them the lift up. We want to look at how we transition them into making them,
viable.
Right. And we're talking about the resources we needed. If we get them into transition homes and get them into a job program, with our good community college. We have a fantastic community college that provides.
Maybe they could go to work at restaurants who would say open later. Theo.
Or there's a whole host of other things that they could be doing that could benefit the community, and I think that's where we need to focus our efforts.
Right. Mike, thank you. Yeah. I do appreciate you coming in, and we do have more questions.
Yeah, we only got to half. That means you have to come back.
At least one more, because more are going to be generated, no doubt.
Yes.
How is the campaign looking? I didn't even ask you. You're talking to a lot of people, I know.
Yeah, I'm talking to a lot of people, learning a lot of different things, and I would encourage people to send me emails or contact me through Facebook and ask those types of questions, because I think community engagement is the way that we really learn about what we can do to make our community a safer place.
Community engagement. You're engaging two dogs right now. I don't where the cats are. I don't know. Three. Where's the other dog? We got three around here somewhere. Okay, Mike. Thank you. We do appreciate it. Thanks for your openness.
Well, thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, you're live on Local Real Talk, where we are awake, and we better stay awake because we got a little bit of wind and stuff coming. Not much. It's not going to be much right here. Most of what's going to happen is going to be kind of north of the Emerald Isle area, up towards the Outer Banks and whatever. That's what they are saying today. What they'll say later today, we don't know. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Be safe.